Hello fellow aviators, VRF Simmer here. Welcome to the next leg of the world tour. We're flying today from Alamagordo, New Mexico, down south to El Paso. And we're here in the Aermacchi fighter trainer. So this is a real treat. It is available in the Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020 marketplace. So I'm going to check it out here today on our flight down to El Paso. We'll do a few maneuvers through the Sierra Blanca range over there to the east, check out a few sites, and you can maybe get a glimpse of what it's like to fly this Aermacchi in a standard flight. So let's hop on in. I've pulled up, I am in VR today with the HP Reverb G2, and let me tell you, with the headset on, it looks absolutely incredible. I know the video quality isn't that great. That's just due to my hardware limitations for the stream, but I wanted to at least fly this aircraft once, and this is my first time to try recording in VR. So we'll start with the checklist here. First thing on the before engine start check, the battery switch, we need to turn that on. So it's over here on the right side. A lot of the electrical switches are right over here. So the battery on generator 1 and 2 are also on the same panel. So we'll flip those on. AC power to normal, it's already there with that switch. Okay, JPT limiter, the engine control panel, it's right over here on the left side. So JPT limiter's there. The IN GPS is back on the right side where this keypad is. So we'll flip that switch on and it'll fire up. And then the ultra high frequency and the VHF UHF COM2, they're over here on the left side. So we'll flip these switches on. Whoops, wrong switch there. And there we go. Got them on. Rudder and elevator trim are set to neutral, and we can see we have the green lights there for the trim. Anti-skid, we'll select that to normal. That's just here to the right of the throttle, or the thrust lever, and then fuel shutoff to open. So just close the guard, it'll open the fuel shutoff, and you can hear the pump activating. Aileron servo, it's over here just to the left of the thrust lever, and it's now on. And parking brake engaged, handle right there, it's pulled out, so the parking brake is on. Altimeter, we'll get that set here in just a second when we get the automated weather, but I do know the field elevation here at Alamagordo is around 4,200 feet, so I'll go ahead and move the altimeter setting to where it's pretty close to that, and we'll fine tune it when we get the automated weather. ICS panel is set as required. Beacon lights are down here just to the right, so I'll go ahead and flip the beacon light on and also the nav light, because it'll say other external lights as required. So we'll move on to the engine start check. Okay, we got to close the canopy. You can see it's a large canopy here, but there's a little bitty gray switch right here. You click that and the canopy will close. And then once it's closed, you can see there's still a canopy red light on. You have to pull this lock lever and you'll see this red mark will disappear. So now the canopy is closed and locked. Seat safety pin, we'll say that's removed from seat and stowed. Engine master switch on, so back here on the engine control panel, engine master switch to on. The throttle is in the stop position. Sometimes I have to press Control Shift F1 to get it there. And then we'll hit the engine starter button. So here we go. So now we're going to be watching the turbine percentage here. And when it gets to 10%, we move the throttle or the thrust lever to idle. And then we'll be watching for positive fuel flow and for the exhaust temperature to come up. So there's 10%. We move throttle to idle. And slowly we'll get the fuel flow in. You see the generators start to come online. There's Gen 1. Hydraulic pressures are coming up. Fuel flow is coming up. Exhaust temperature is looking good. We just need to make sure everything stays in the green. Anything starts to get out of whack, we'll just pull the thrust lever back to stop, remove the fuel. Alright, looks like we have had a good start. So let's continue with the checklist here. Throttle, we'll set the idle flow meters positive, JPT was normal, engine speed and oil pressure were normal, hydraulic pressure is increasing. Master caution's off. Let's check the all the warning lights, make sure they're all working. You can hit this warning light test button there, and you can see everything was lit, and we'll turn it back off. So all the lights are off, and flaps, we'll put those up. When you park, you leave the flaps down, and you also leave the speed brake out, but we'll bring it back in for right now. So that controls right on the right side of the thrust lever here. And oxygen diluter lever is this green tab here, so we'll hit that and that'll turn it on, and we'll see oxygen flow indicator there just to the right of the vertical speed indicator. Alright, we'll move on to the before taxi checklist. Engine idle RPM should be at 40 to 41%, and it's right at 41%, so we're good. Oil pressure 0.7 bar minimum and showing a little over 1, so that's good. And taxi light just to the left of the gear lever. Click it once, it'll turn on the landing light, and then another time it'll switch to the taxi light. And park and brake release, so we're ready to start our taxi now. So I'm going to switch over to automated weather here.
Kilo Alpha Lima Mike automated weather observation 1800 Zulu. Wind 021 at 14. Visibility 10. Sky condition: few clouds at 700 feet, few clouds at 4,300 feet, few clouds at 12,100 feet. Temperature -4 C dew point, 10 C altimeter 3027. Kilo Alpha Lima Mike automated weather observation 1800 Zulu. Wind 021.
Alright, so 3027 on the altimeter. Got that, well, almost have that set in. There we go. And then we need to switch over to common traffic advisor frequency. We're going to take off on runway 4 since the winds were out of the northeast, and we'll announce our taxi there.
Kilo Alpha Lima Mike traffic November 416 Golf Victor is taxiing to runway 4.
Alright, here we go. We'll check our brakes, make sure they're working. Yep, they're good. So we'll get rolling forward, and then I'll make a hard right turn. And we'll keep our thrust low so we don't blow away these rampers whose ears are probably blown out now. As you can see, it's a really neat aircraft, and especially in VR, you can't beat it. I wonder where this aircraft is going. Didn't even hear him on the radio. Looks like he's gonna wait for us. I'm actually gonna not sure where he's going. I'm gonna taxi us over this way so we can get around him. Sometimes the AI traffic does some weird things. I think we can exit down here. So I currently don't really have a way to look at Navigraph or SkyVector on while I'm in VR. I'm hoping to find a way to do that. I think there is an application I can get for that I actually have purchased for Steam VR. I just have not practiced using it yet. That will let me open some windows inside VR, but I mean, in general, when I'm flying VR, I'm headed outside the cockpit, just enjoying the view, enjoying the immersion. Alright, so for takeoff, whenever we're going to use our flaps to take off, I'm going to go ahead and set that there and verify that the speed brake is in, which it is. I'll get the pitot heat on. That's down here to the right. There we go. Pitot heat is on. And we'll run through the checklist here really quickly before we take the runway. I'm going to slow our roll so we can do that. Alright, so before takeoff, canopy closed locked, flight nav instruments are checked, flaps, takeoff, speed brakes checked in, pitot engine anti-ice are as required. Engine anti-ice is off. It's obviously a nice clear day here in southern New Mexico. For takeoff, we'll have full throttle, rotate at 95 knots, and get the gear up to positive rate. Flaps up between 120 and 175 knots. Make sure the hydraulics and engine instruments stay in the green, and climb at 275. We'll look at that a little more in a bit. So we'll go ahead and announce our takeoff here. We'll be departing to the east. We're going to head into the mountains first.
Kilo Alpha Lima Mike traffic November 416 Golf Victor taking
So we'll
off
switch over to
runway
our landing
departure
light
to
here.
the east.
And here we go. Just make sure that Cessna isn't on the runway. I don't see anybody down there. Alright, here we go. And we will begin our trek toward El Paso, the final leg of this world tour that is entirely inside the United States. So we're lined up. Runway 4 is verified. Here we go. And engine instruments are all looking normal in the green. Airspeed's alive. 90 knots. We'll lift the nose. And positive rate. You're up. And we'll get a little bit of altitude and get the and then we'll get the flaps up. Okay. Flaps are coming up. And we're ready to maneuver. So Holloman Air Force Base is back off our left shoulder there. So we're out over Alamagordo and we're going to head into the Sierra Blancas. So here we go. Take us into the canyon here. We'll explore it a little bit. This is something that's a lot of fun to do in VR. And I gotta tell you, the immersion inside this aircraft is spectacular. With the canopy, and you have some extra thrust and also some maneuverability to play with. So we'll check it out here in the canyon, in this little mountain valley. Wow, this is so cool. Alright, and we'll go up and over the there's a little lookout point back here on the mountain. That's really cool looking. Let's go check it out. Do a quick look around it. Looks like you can drive right to that point. Very cool. And look out over Alamagordo and White Sands in the distance there, as you can see off the nose. Alright, we'll continue down to the south here. Maybe fly down this next canyon here. check it out. And you know, I cannot. This is just so neat in VR. Alright, if you look up off the nose, you'll see a really tall building on top of the mountain. That is Sunspot, New Mexico, and that's actually a place where they used to do, the federal government used to do sun observations every day. And that tower apparently houses tons of mercury, toxic mercury, that is somehow used for the equipment up there. But there it is, Sunspot, New Mexico. And we'll do a quick lap around it. But there's a whole community that lives up there. You can see the houses, and just up at pretty high altitude. Because we're at 11,000 feet right now, so they're probably close to 10,000 on the ground there. But as far as I know, there's I think New Mexico State maybe still operates the observatory there. But I don't know how long that'll last. But we'll continue our flight down south here. There's a little airport I was wanting to check out. I saw on the sectional chart that's in the southern part of the Sierra Blancas here. So we'll just kind of ride along the west face of the mountains here. Let's see if we can't find this airstrip. We'll go ahead and turn off the landing light. Well, as you can see, I mean, it's pretty desolate out here. Alright, let's check out the climb performance of this aircraft. So we're gonna pull up right before we would hit that mountain slope, and I'm just gonna take us straight up. Here we go. You can see we are skyrocketing, and we still have a little bit of energy left. And then I'm gonna level us off now. And we are all the way up at 16,000 feet, just like that. And there's the airstrip I was talking about, just off the nose, in the middle of all these road patterns. Let's do a little airport buzz. Give them a little low pass here. Just gotta make sure I don't exceed the maximum structural speed of this aircraft. I'm getting pretty close here. So we'll just do a low pass of the airport. Oh, it looks like people might live on the airfield. That's pretty cool. Yeah, we just woke them all up. Very cool. This is a fun way to travel down to El Paso, that's for sure. Alright, well, we'll head back out toward the desert now. There's a loops interstate that we can follow out there down south toward El Paso, since I don't really have any navigational equipment that I'm using today. But wow, it's so dry out here in this area. Just kind of desolate. So from here, I'm gonna head to the west until we find the main road, and we'll follow that to the south. And it looks like our fuel's still good. Here's our fuel gauge right here on the right side. It's important to keep an eye on that. This aircraft really likes to guzzle down the fuel. Alright, we'll just follow this dirt road for a little bit. I think it'll take us... It's going pretty much west, so that's the way we need to go. But it's pretty incredible the amount of terrain detail that's in this, just with the default scenery here. I mean, you can see there's just little undulations in the terrain that, I mean, if you had to download all of this and store it on your hard drive, I don't know how many terabytes or more it would take. But it's really cool how the developers at Asobo, Microsoft, were able to get all this to just stream. Into the sun. Well, it looks incredible. Hey, I'm thinking we're going to come up on the road here eventually. It's somewhere out here in the middle of the valley, in the desert here. We'll just keep heading west until we find it. Keep waking up all the desert critters below and blowing the rattlers away. I think I just saw the highway, maybe. There it is. Right there off our left wing tip. So I'm going to do a unique little maneuver there to get around them. And you can see here, just wow, what a view. You see white sands back there off our right side, back up to the northwest. Huge area. Let's check out these mountains before we continue south along the highway. Pull our thrust back so we don't overspeed. Well, these are pretty cool looking, just kind of out in the middle of nowhere. there's a quick view of the outside of the aircraft. Neat looking bird. Yep, the interstate there, that's our main visual reference out here in this desert to get us down to El Paso. So I'll just kind of keep that in sight here. Yeah, you can see we're definitely getting close to the Mexican border now. Things are drying out. But pretty quickly we'll get back to some mountain flying in this world tour in Mexico. So looking forward to that. I've never ever explored that section of Mexico at all, so it should be a lot of fun. Alright, we'll just continue down. El Paso should be, I believe, just on the east side of these mountains up ahead. Let's go ahead and pull out our checklist, make sure we've been doing we've got everything set for the climbs, obviously better. We don't, cabin pressurization, all of that was fine. Generator loads are continuing to be good, and we have to continue to monitor the engine instruments, the load generators, hydraulic pressure, oxygen, and cabin pressurization, which that's all, a lot of these instruments are all right over in this area, so everything looks good. The cabin pressure altitude's at 6,000 feet right now, which is what we're at. Okay, so for our descent check, fuel check quantity, engine anti-ice, we're going to leave that off, and it is off. Pitot anti-ice is on. Navigation equipment is as required. Landing light, I'm going to go ahead and turn that on just so we have it, since we're getting into the terminal area. ADI, HSI, just check them, and altimeter adjust. I'll go ahead and tune in. Excuse me. The ATIS at El Paso.
El Paso Airport information, Golf 1800 Zulu. Wind 021 at 14. Visibility 10. Sky condition, few clouds at 800 feet, few clouds at 4,400 feet, few clouds at 12,000.
I think they're messed up with the cloud reporting.
-4, 2.10. Altimeter 30.27. ILS runway 22.
Alright, 3027.
Departing runway 22. VFR aircraft, say direction of flight. All aircraft read back hold short instructions. Advise controller on initial contact you have Golf.
Alright.
El Paso Airport information, Golf 180.
El Paso Tower, November 416 Golf Victor is 12 miles north with Golf to left.
And typically,
November 416 Golf Victor, El Paso Tower. Enter left base runway 22. Altimeter 30.26, wind 021 at 14.
Enter left base runway 226 Golf Victor.
alright, so it's going to be a runway 22. I'm going to go ahead and set that here in this course indicator, just so I have that as a reminder where we're going. It's going to be runway 22, which, if I remember, that's up kind of on the north side of the field. We'll check out these mountains for a second. typically we would be talking to approach before we talk to tower, but they're still working on the default air traffic control in Microsoft Flight Simulator. But I have to say, so far, I would highly recommend this aircraft if you just want a fun jet to fly around in, particularly if you have VR. This is something that is worthwhile to experience. So I'll get us back on the toward El Paso here, and we'll enter the so we're right there on the American and Mexican border, so definitely don't want to cross over the border quite yet.
Golf Victor cleared to land runway 22.
Alright, so we're clear to land. I'll acknowledge it.
Cleared to land runway 226 Golf Victor.
And plot our checklist here. We're going to need to slow down, so I'm going to go ahead and pull our thrust lever back. I think that's the Air Force Base just to the north, Biggs Air Force Base. And then El Paso International is to the south. Alright, so we do already have the landing light on approach. Airspeed 250 knots, altitude 1500 feet, AGL. So that's going to be. And yeah, that's the Air Force Base directly off the right wing, and then just past that is El Paso International. This is where we need to be. So make sure I do not land at the Air Force Base. That is definitely a threat. Be easy to do. Alright, so I got us back to 250 now. We'll keep slowing down. You know, he is on engine. We'll look for 60%. Get the speed brake out to slow down if we need to. Landing gear down below 175. So I'm going to go ahead and just leave the thrust lever at idle. We'll start slowing. And then flaps, take off below 175, and we'll put it to full down once we're at about 140. Alright, there's our runway. Runway's in sight. There's 175, gear down, flaps to take off. And speed brake's back in. You do have the speed brake and the flap indicators right here on the panel just below the clock on the left side. So that's an easy way to, another way you can look at the position of all of those things. Alright, so we need to get to 115 knots. Go ahead, flaps down. And we're looking for flare wings level, throttle idle, touchdown 95 to 100. Just waiting on the gear down, 3 green, there it goes. Perfect. So we need to slow down a little bit more still. And this will be our last landing in the United States of America till the very end of the tour. So Looks like we're a little bit low. Add some thrust. Well, we're down. Let's try and drift to the right there. I'm just going to keep it rolling, because we have a ways to go before we get to the general aviation parking area. Those mountains sure are pretty out to the northwest. I'll take this high speed here till
6 Golf Victor exit runway when able. 6 Golf Victor contact ground on 121.9er.
121.9er for 6 Golf Victor. El Paso ground November 416 Golf Victor request taxi to parking.
November 416 Golf Victor taxi to general aviation parking using taxiway Delta Charlie Echo Bravo Alpha Foxtrot.
Taxi to fuel 6 Golf Victor.
Alright, Delta Charlie Echo Bravo Alpha Foxtrot. Alright, so we're getting on to Charlie now. And I'll do our, did what I could remember of the after landing flow, and then I'll verify it here with the checklist in just a minute once I make sure we're going the right direction. Alright, so this is Delta Charlie Echo. So this is Echo. General aviation parking. It's down there by those hangars and just a little bit to the left of them, kind of to the northeast. So we'll just kind of taxi by the commercial terminal. Alright, I'm going to pull out the checklist. Do our after landing check. Alright, so flaps are up. See right there, indicated up. Speed brake is in. Landing lights, we'll turn that off. Turn on the taxi light. After landing check complete. Here's another after landing check. Hydraulic pressure is within limits over here. And here's our left turn on Bravo. Trims are in the neutral position. Pitot engine anti-ice off. We got that off. And canopy is closed and locked for now. After landing check complete. Alright, there's the parking. So we'll get on over there and shut it down. And this nozzle steering you see here up on the top part of the panel, it automatically turns on the ground with this current version of this aircraft. I'd heard they're coming out with a study level version down the line, but this one, I mean, it still has enough function to where you can have a great time with it. So overall, I think I'd recommend this aircraft. Unless something crazy happens to us when we shut down here in a second. And it is already set up for VR. It has the checklist built in to the toolbar in Flight Sim, so you can... The only tricky part first few times through is just finding the switches. And there may be a few things that don't work as advertised, and I have not been able to find the transponder yet, so that was the main reason why I did not use Pilot Edge for this particular leg. We'll go ahead and we'll park it right here between these two aircraft. And call it a day. There we go. Parking brake is now set. Let's pull out our checklist and get this aircraft shut down. Alright, taxi lights off. Parking brake set. Speed brake is, it wants us to put it out. Flaps down. Throttle set to approximately 60%. There we go. And then throttle to stop. So I'm just pressing Control Shift F1 to do that. There we go. And engine's shutting down. There we go. And we'll turn off the radios. And the GPS off. External lights, turn these all off here. Engine master to off. JPT limiter off. Oxygen diluter lever to off. It's that green switch there, but it'll let me. Huh. Oh, it gave me a oxygen diluter lever to off. There it goes. And Gen 1, Gen 2 off. We're getting there. And battery off. There we go. Seat safety pins back in place and canopy open. That's the end of the shutdown check. So let's hit the gray lever here. We'll get the... Whoops, I need to unlock the canopy first. There we go. And we are now complete. So thanks for riding along on this. This was a fun leg of the world tour in the Aermacchi. So next leg, we're headed into Mexico, and there'll be a little bit of planning to do in order to make that a reality. Look forward to filling y'all in on what the plan is here in the next leg as we head south out of the United States and into Mexico. For now, VRF Simmer signing off. See you in the air again soon.